いらん。
お風呂
入らん。
よ。寝るわよ。ここに来た者はみんな石になるのじゃ。
ピットよ、メデューサを倒せ。光の国エンジェランドに平和を呼び戻すのじゃ。マルチアクションゲーム光神話パルテナの鏡。
あなた会社よ。
行ってきます。
やればやるほどディスクシステム。
You'd think the kid would be playing that instead of the old man. Maybe it was a different demographic in Japan. Anyway, good evening, folks. Welcome to the first stream of 2025. My name is Jager Newman. Welcome to the Game Reserve. I'm the warden in these parts. And tonight, I am giving Kyle his prize for winning the game of Mario Party 2 that we had at the end of 2024. And tonight we are playing Kid Icarus for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This game was released in 1986 for the Nintendo or Famicom Disk System, but it would later be released for the Nintendo Entertainment System as just a standard console release. So how Kid Icarus came about was it was created by R&D1, and it started production as Metroid was reaching the end of its development. This was standard practice for video game development in general. As development was winding down on one game, certain team members who had already fulfilled their roles would move on and start the next game production, so that once the current game wrapped, there would be something for everyone else to work on. The idea was just to keep development at a constant pace, so people, once they're finished with one work, they could come to work the next day and get started on something else. The idea with Kid Icarus was to create a combination of an action game and an RPG. And for the theme of the game, they opted to go with Greek mythology. When the game came out, it was unfortunately a flop at retail in Japan, mostly because it was released for the Famicom Disk System, which was on the decline at the time. It's the same reason why Metroid didn't do too well in Japan. But thankfully, when the game landed stateside, it did do better, but I don't think it did as well as Metroid, and it wasn't coming anywhere near as close to the numbers that Mario and Zelda were throwing down. It might have even done worse than Castlevania, I don't really know. There was another game on... There was another game in the series on the Game Boy, Kid Icarus, Myths and Monsters, I think it was. But that was even more unknown than the original Kid Icarus, and that seemed to be the case for a long time. After the NES game came and the NES came and went, people just kind of forgot about the game. That is until 2006, which is when Nintendo started showing off Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and one of the big surprise characters for that initial release was Pit, making his triumphant return from the NES days, sporting a sick as hell new design, and when the game came out, a great new personality too, courtesy of Masahiro Sakurai, who would later be given the reins for what was essentially the series reboots with Kid Icarus Uprising. And this is really where Kid Icarus started to gain its notoriety, because after he appeared in Smash, people started going back and looking at the original Kid Icarus on the NES, which was perfect timing too, because it was the Nintendo Wii. The game was available on the Wii eShop. Because of that, people have gone back and re-examined Kid Icarus, and now it's widely considered to be one of the best games on the NES. And while I don't agree with that statement entirely, I wouldn't even put it in the top 10, I would call it one of the big hidden gems for the console, and I'm glad it's starting to get a bigger following. It's a shame that Uprising ended up not doing too well for Nintendo, because they haven't done anything with the series since, and I feel there's a lot of potential to continue it. But I think I've talked enough about the development, so why don't we go ahead and actually get to the game. As for most of the NES games I play here on the Game Reserve, We're going to be playing it off the Nintendo Switch online service. This is a good way to play the game, especially if you're a modern gamer like myself, because you get save states, the rewind function. It's just a good way to play it if you're not used to games like these. Do a quick sound check, make sure everything's coming in loud and clear. Rewind function. It's just a good way to play it. Very good. All right. Okay, so I gotta be honest, not a big fan of the graphic design on the Kid Icarus logo. The kerning is really sloppy on it. There's a lot of overlapping, but then you got some letters that have a lot of space between it. Like the the I darted with the heart, it's kind of pointless since the K is covering up. And they're missing the other side of the I too, so I kind of read it as Kid Licorice. So, yeah, not a terribly good title screen, but I do like the title, Kid Icarus. Icarus, of course, being the famous Greek myth of the kid with angel wings that flew too close to the sun and had his wings burned off. But, yeah, pretty good title, and fitting of a game about angels, I would say. So, in regards to what the game is about, in the game you take the role of Pit, an angel who is tasked by the goddess Palutena to rescue her from the evil Medusa and free Angelan from her grip. Pretty basic story as far as NES games go. It's pretty much just context for the gameplay, but what can you do? And really, the personality of Kid Icarus wouldn't really come into play until much later. Like, it wouldn't come until Kid Icarus Uprising. Alright, so here's a good place to talk about the controls, and for the most part it is pretty good. Jumping feels pretty responsive. It takes a second for Pit to stop moving when you let off the D-pad, and when you jump, his momentum carries, so if you want to land in a specific spot, you have to be sure to cancel out that momentum by pulling back on the D-pad. So it does take some getting used to, but it's not bad. Your primary attack is, of course, Pit's trademark bow and arrow, which you can shoot left and right and also up. It does have a pretty limited range, and I think you can expand that range over time, but it is a little aggravating that it only goes so far. It's the same stupid stuff from Metroid where you gotta upgrade the length of it. As far as the presentation goes, it definitely looks like an early NES game, but you are starting to see them really tap into the power of the console a little bit more. There's more detail, more color, and Kit's character model especially is pretty well done. The black background, also pretty common for the time. Metroid also had that. And I do like the background for this type of game because it makes all the colors pop, which gives it a good visual appeal. It's not one of the best looking games on the NES, I would say, but it's certainly not bad. And one thing you've probably noticed by now is the fact that in this first level here, as opposed to scrolling left to right, as is typically the case in a side-scroller, we're actually scrolling vertically, which was something very deliberate by the developers. Though, in the 3 levels you get to play, in the second one, it is a side-scroller, and then for the last level it goes back to the vertical scrolling. But it is a distinct visual characteristic of Kid Icarus. And it does make sense from a narrative perspective too, because essentially Pit is escaping from his dungeon in the underworld, and he's essentially having to climb out to go rescue Palutena, so it does make sense. I gotta watch out for this guy right here. That's the Grim Reaper. If he sees me, he's gonna summon a bunch of nasty dudes who I want to avoid. Yeah, pro tip for pro tip. I'm not a pro at NES games. For these bits right here, be sure not to collect the item right away, because if you do that, they're all going to disappear. It is a bit of trial and error, making sure you don't get the Grim Reaper, at which point you're booted out of this area. But again, that's why it's good playing on a Nintendo Switch Online service, because if you make a mistake, you can just rewind. So why am I taking the time to collect all those hearts? Well, like in Castlevania, the hearts aren't actually health as you expect, they're actually currency. So as you play through the game, you'll occasionally come across stores that will have items and upgrades that it can collect. And you really need the hearts in order to... Ah, crap, he saw me. Ah, little... Ah. I don't think I'm going to be able to get around that guy, so... Just keep going back and forth on the screen until they disappear. Yeah, it's arcade style, so you go one side and then you can go to the other. Or I could just take him out. There's no time limit in this game, which is really nice. It's not like Castlevania where you gotta stay on the move, otherwise the timer is gonna run out on you. Which is good for situations like this where you really want to watch the enemy pattern so you can slip by. I really am not a big fan of the Grim Reaper enemies in this game though, because I feel it just kind of slows the pace down. Really do like the music in Kid Icarus too. Anyone who's played Smash probably recognizes this song. It was a pretty iconic track, but, you know, it's a Nintendo game on the NES. They did really good with the music at the time. I think the Famicom version has extra sound channels, which I don't think this version has. But if you have the 3DS, well, you can't buy that version of the game anymore. On the 3DS, they released a updated version of the game that had the 3D effects included, and I think that included the extra sound channels, but I can't really confirm or deny that. I really do need to figure out how I'm going to look at 3DS games for the showcase, because I've got a couple of 3DS games coming up. I mean, I'm covering this, so I'm going to have to do Uprising at some point. And I don't think there's an emulator available for the 3DS yet. If anyone's got a solution to that, please leave it in the comments, because I would love to hear how you do that. Yeah, I remember when I first started playing this, my first instinct every time I came across a monster nest like this was to just back out so I don't take the damage, but you really need to get as many hearts as you can in this game, because the items in this game are just really expensive, so you just can't afford to be doing without them. And these platforms are a little icy, which means you gotta be just a little bit more careful. Yeah, like here's the first shop I was telling you about, and this is one of my problems with Kid Icarus. I just feel like a lot of these items are a little too overpriced. Like, in order to have money for any of these things, you essentially have to do a lot of grinding, which I really hate. Of all the elements they could have took from a RPG, they had to pick the worst gameplay mechanic in them. Like, you guys all know I really hate grinding. I gotta avoid this guy. Or can I jump? No, I can't jump up there. Duck. You can actually just jump over him, and then when you come back out, he'll have disappeared. This might seem a bit crazy. All the enemies in here do have a fixed pattern, so if you can identify it quick enough, you can get through here without taking a whole lot of damage. And again, if I do take a hit, I can just rewind it. I know a lot of NES vets are probably going to get on me for using the rewind function, saying that this isn't how you're supposed to play the game, get good. Rightfully so, but it's not really something that's on my to-do list to get really good at NES games. While I like Kid Icarus, it's not something I play a whole lot, and this guy just will not. Go! Get over here! Little bugger. One thing I do find a little weird is that despite the fact that Pit is an angel, he can't really do a whole lot with his wings, at least not at this point in the game. Like, you would think he would have been able to hover a little bit if you mashed the button, but nah, like, his wings are just kind of for show. And I know that canonically, Pit cannot fly without assistance from Palutena, but I'm pretty sure he can still use them to extend his jumps just a little bit. Then again, this probably is long before a double jump was even a thing. I wonder what the first game ever to use a double jump was. Man, that Grim Reaper just took off, didn't he? Alright, so I'm gonna buy some health since I'm here. If you get a high enough score, the health will actually extend. But again, I really don't feel like... Ah! So what happened there is I pushed down on the D-pad, and that's how you jump down from a platform. Which is not a good thing to have in a game like this, where oftentimes, like, you just scroll the screen up, and if you fall, you die. It's like, what happens to everything that's below Pit at this point? See, like, I was just down there. I know there is something down there. So, why is it suddenly a bombless pit? Pit. Something else I really do like about Kid Icarus, compared to some other NES games, is that Pit doesn't suffer from knockback, so if you take a hit from an enemy, that's not instant death, as is so often the case with NES games. You still gotta be careful, though. That's just an evil place to put one of those guys. Just gotta time it right. And I did not time it right. That was a cheap hit. Teach you to shoot at me. What do we got in here? Kinda reminds me of the guy in, what's it called? Zelda, who says it's dangerous to go alone, take this. So I think I just got an upgrade to my bow and arrow there. Not necessarily for attack range, but I did increase the power. It does kind of suck that they don't replenish your health when you go to a new level. But this was still the age when people were still making home console games with arcade sensibilities. It would be a while before developers would start breaking that habit. Not sure why it was an issue for R&D 1, considering they had just put out Metroid. Again, that was ball-bustingly hard too. People always talk about how hard NES games were back in the day, but truth of the matter was, a lot of the time, they were just hard because of fundamentally flawed design. Another one of these nests. Ooh, and these guys are moving fast. Ah. Too far. It really, like, a good example of what I'm talking about with the fundamentally flawed design. I cannot get this heart now. Just a lot of jank from this time and period in gaming. Ah. Slid off the edge there. Should have moved. Or at least fired my bow. Ugh. And I hate having to deal without health. Not that it's a big deal if you die. One of the good things about Kid Icarus, difficulty-wise, is that when you die, you're just sent back to the start of the level, and you actually do restart with full health, too. And there are unlimited continues in the game, but some of these levels can go on for a little bit long, so like a halfway point in the level would have been appreciated. Not sure what's up with the birthday candles, though. Crap! Ugh. I had myself in a bad spot there. Let's go here. There we go. Gotta be careful around those forks there on the wall, because some of those will actually hurt you. And some will do absolutely nothing, and I'm not sure what the deal there is. Oh! That was a bad place for that. And like, the snakes will just keep coming. Like, I think they knew that you would have to do a lot of grinding in order to buy some of the upgrades in this game. So they made sure there was a constant stream of enemies for you to grind on. But I would have preferred they just lessened the amount of hearts you would need and, you know, had less enemies on screen, because oftentimes you find yourself just waiting for a moment to slip by these things. I don't even know why I did that. I could have just gone the other way. Oh! Oh! Damn, it's getting hard. Ugh. Yeah, stupid bouncy Metroid looking things. One of my favorite things in Kid Icarus Uprising is the fact that certain enemies from Nintendo's catalog actually do make appearances, and that includes the Metroids, and Pit actually recognizes them. Ah. Here's where things get a little aggravating, because you gotta be sure you jump between these two things. Why those things gotta be there? And why didn't that one hurt me? What sense does that make? Just gonna wait for one to fall. Might be a glitch. I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised. Definitely like the health, but I'm not gonna get that, am I? Ah! Man, look at that slowdown. Yeah, if you ever wonder why enemies tend to flicker in NES games when there's a lot of sprites on screen, that's the primary reason for why. If you make the sprites flicker when it gets busy on screen, you can maintain the frame rates a little easier, because for that split second the character models aren't on screen. This should be interesting. Oh. Sometimes I find it's best to just stay at one spot. I think it might even be randomized. Ah! I think it is randomized, actually. Maybe I'll move over to the side a little bit. I gotta be honest, I don't know what any of these do. I'll just take the bow. Yeah, there's a lot about this game that I honestly don't understand, and I unfortunately don't love Kid Icarus enough to want to look it up. But we're moving right along, about halfway through the stream so far. So now we reached the first labyrinth level. So you come across one of these stages at the end of each level. And here the game shifts from a 2D action game to something of a exploration game. So these levels are actually maze-like, which is kind of cool. Ah. Man, I wish your arrow would just fly across the screen in its entirety. Something else you want to be sure you do in these levels is free these little guys. Pitt's Army, I think they are. Because they'll help you when you reach the boss fight. You be careful, because you go on those pots, then that's what causes the snakes to spawn. See, like that. Not sure what those things are supposed to be, though. Ah, I didn't mean to go through there. Oh, missed. Ah, that would have been bad. Move really carefully and then just run. Do want to free that guy in there, though. It is a pretty intricate game as far as the NES goes, I will admit. Jump over here. Let them slither out onto the floor, because as long as I don't go down there and kill them, it won't spawn anymore. Sometimes you just gotta exploit the programming. Same deal there. Up the ladder. I think that's supposed to be your map right there, but as you can tell, it's all kinds of useless. Oh, crap. Oh! Oh, I can... Wait. Oh. That's something else that's annoying if, Pit stops. If you... Ah! Damn. If you go to aim up, Pit will just stop in place, which is a little annoying. Can put you in a bad spot. Gotta time this right. Okay, they can't go through there, that's good. This is going to be very aggravating to time. Why do the snakes have wings anyway? Is that like a mythological monster or something? And I don't think I can climb up there, so I'll just head back the way I came. Spawn the snakes. Slip on by. Ah! Didn't mean to do that. Definitely a lot of trial and error with this game. There's a reason I'm so quick to use the rewind function. You do have the option to take your time, again, because you don't have to worry about time limit in this game. They're coming at me from the other side of the screen. That's a little cheap. I can't do that because the 2 ways out are that way. Spawn the snakes. And that's the last of my... I guess it's some kind of magic wand or something. Not sure what the things I've been using on the statues are. But I don't have any more, so... that'll have to do for when I go to fight the boss. Oop, that was close. Okay, so this isn't the way I need to go, because I can't go any further now. Yeah, I don't think that Kid Icarus was a terribly big seller when it came out back in the day, but it had to have been popular because Pit actually does appear in this old TV show called Captain N, the Game Master. Though in that series, he was referred to as just Kid Icarus. Go with this guy. I need health. I don't like that. I just got the health. I don't want to waste it. And then Captain N, the Game Master, his character quirk was that he would end a lot of his sentence with the word that said Icarus or something. It was really annoying, and like there were a lot of really stupid portrayals in Captain N. I think the most infamous one was how they chose to portray Simon Belmont, who... man, there's a way I want to describe him, but I really know I shouldn't. And people could probably guess what I'm thinking based on that. It is a nice change of pace from the 2D platforming, though, even if this maze level does go on a little bit long for my taste. Probably the most famous enemy in the game, the Eggplant Wizard. Essentially, it's a wizard with an eggplant for a head, and if he hits you, Pit gets locked into it. I'll show you guys, just so you can see. And you can't do anything like that. You're basically just stuck until your health runs out. But, you know, it's a very iconic enemy in the game, and, like, it's also really funny how the character came about, too. Supposedly, the original plan for Kid Icarus was for it to be, serious, like, what is it? Metroid was? But one of the designers who was working on Metroid at the time came on, and he started throwing in all these wacky character designs and enemy concepts. And it sort of gave the game a nice sense of humor, which everyone appreciated. I think they might have had their fill of super serious with the Metroid series, so... And they would definitely double down on that with Kid Icarus Uprising, which is one of the funniest games I've ever played. Drop down here. That's annoying. No! Okay, that's some bad enemy placement right there. See if I can get through there with my health intact. Evidently not. Well, you can't wait, so I guess I'm gonna have to take a hit there. I really hate design like that. Still collecting the hearts. Geez, the programming. Oh, that could have been bad. Okay, so it's like a hot spring that heals you. This is something else I really don't like here, because you see this and I think your first inclination would be to say, oh, that's probably lava, I shouldn't go in there, but the only reason I did that was because I remember there being a hot spring somewhere at this point in the game. What is this, Indiana Jones? Oh. Ah! I don't want to be taking any hits I don't want to. Darn it. If I'm not mistaken, I can't even reach that heart. I might have been able to. Oh, that's a bad place for those guys. I like getting it for the 8-plate wizard. It's just humiliating. Ugh. No, I'm not trying to aim up. Ugh. I'm just gonna go around the guy. Oh, that's of no use to me. I'm gonna go back to before I went up there, so I only have one of these bastards to deal with. Oh. Not great, more of this crap. Shouldn't have done that. I think we're getting close to the boss. I think he's in the next chamber. Ah, why did I do that? I think I better drop down, actually. Hate how slow these things move. Ah, there's our boss. Ah, get it back into a corner here. Damn it. Let's try that again. Remember when I was playing this earlier, I actually managed to get him in a spot where I could just cheese him from behind. He getting stuck on that first platform there. Kind of like that. I think I might have him, actually. That's a janky boss fight, isn't it? So did I get that thing? Oh, cool. I got a health power-up. Alright, so now we're in the second world, which is essentially Earth, and as you can see, now the game is a 2D side-scroller. It's kinda neat. Grab these things while I can. I have as many of those as possible for when it comes time to do one of the— Whoa! Were those rocks being thrown at me? I'll definitely take that health. Even though it doesn't heal me all the way. You're not welcome. Urgh. Okay, with those flowing rocks, you do have to stay on the move. Okay, is this a hot spring? Yes, it is a hot spring. Thank Lifeson. Stupid thingamabobbers. Oh man, those things are moving fast. I feel like I'm getting a little reckless now that I got a bigger health bar. I can't remember, is this song in Smash Bros? I think it is. Ow. Stupid pufferfish. Yeah, those things are ugly. Urgh. I really hate the enemies that just burst out of the floor like that. Those ones are just completely random. And again, it kind of forces you to actually act instead of giving you time to think about what you're doing. Saw that one. Ugh. Bastards. Haha. I ain't got time for your trial and error bullshit. It's always the middle one that seems to be the Grim Reaper doll or whatever that thing is. Oh, crap. I probably can't scroll backwards to get that health item, can I? Can I scroll backwards? I cannot. Come on, this was made by the people who did Metroid. Can you not program in the ability to scroll to the right? What are those things? Horned frogs? That's something. Wait, are my arrows actually... Huh. I guess I got that from, the power-up. I didn't play past that first level when I was, taking notes for this game earlier because, honestly, I didn't think I'd make it this far in this stream. That's interesting. You're mocking me, aren't you, dude? Wow. Oh. Oh, man, that was close. Mistime that jump. I'll give it a try. Ah. Damn it. Need to move to the side a little bit. End already, damn it! Yeah. I guess I'll get this F thing. I really have no idea what it does. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make that jump. Ugh! Stupid blowfish thing. Oh, that was close. Glad you came, Pit. Here, take this. Guess it's another power-up. Definitely is a nice sense of progression in this game. Ooh, I got another power-up, sweet. I don't think so. Wait. The color choice on the graphics is starting to get a little gaudy, though, I will admit. Ah. No, I'm actually gonna let them kill me so I can start with a full health bar. The game uses a password save as opposed to as opposed to a save system, at least in the NES version. In the Famicom version, because of the disc-based setup, it actually did have a file save on it, much like Metroid did. But of course, they opted to cut down on cost for the NES release by foregoing the battery back in favor of just a traditional password system. I wonder if there are any weird codes that you can get out of it. I know Metroid has a lot of weird codes. Like the famous Justin Bailey code, which lets you play as Zero Suit Samus. Actually, it is a lot easier to do these now that I can actually shoot my arrows across the screen. Keep missing out on hearts, though. What purpose do rooms like this serve? 4 minutes left on the stream. Oop. Oh, barely squeezed my ass through there. Another hot spring, sweet. Wait, what is this? Oh, I see. So that's what that does. That's cool. I guess I only get that when I'm at full power, though. Makes my arrows cover more real estate. There. Man, I made short work of those guys, didn't I? Ah. There goes that ability, though. Getting into some tight platforming here. How much ground are we actually covering? It seems like we're going from a desert to suddenly snow-covered mountains, the ocean. It's very strange. And what was that? Is that the Abominable Snowman or something? Music is changing a little bit. I don't have enough money for any air crap, dude. Sue me. Please don't go into the water. Please don't go into the water. Almost finished with the stream. I might go until I get to the end of this level, though, just cuz. What is the deal with this guy? Ah, what was that? Whoa! That would have been so cool if I managed to dodge those guys. I have a feeling it's just going to keep going, so I'm going to go ahead and call it there. So, Kid Icarus, this is actually a really fun game for the NES. The controls are pretty solid. There's some issues with it, but you do get used to them after a while. The sense of progression is really nice. Like, it's got some innovative ideas as far as the platformer goes with the vertical scrolling and everything. And the variety between the levels is pretty stellar, all things considered. It might have been a little too ambitious for its time, though. The RPG elements are just, you know, a little cryptic in how they're incorporated, but if you play the game enough, you should figure it out. But yeah, Kid Icarus is actually a pretty damn good game, and it's definitely one of the better games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. If you're a fan of old 8-bit games, I definitely recommend giving this a shot. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. If you enjoyed tonight's content, please be sure to like and subscribe. I do these videos every Saturday at 8 o'clock, and what I do is I pick a game and play it for about an hour and talk about design, mechanics, stuff like that, because I just enjoy talking about stuff like that. I do not play games from start to finish because the whole purpose of the Game Preserve is to encourage people to, you know, give the games I showcase a try, because I feel like you're missing something if you're not playing the games yourself, though no disrespect to anyone who chooses to consume video games in that medium. If there's a game that you would like me to cover in this format, please leave it in the comments. If I think it's worth checking out, I'll be sure to give it a look. But that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Hope you all have a good work week, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, nobody watched that one.